We'll see what the fourth pickup for MIPH is going to be, though. Bit of thinking going on here. Reserve time is being used up by MIPH for this fourth pickup. We'll see what they do decide on. I mean, it does seem like they need 2 more cores to come. Still don't know who's going off lane. Nightstalker.
I think it's just something that's going to be able to take advantage of the backline jump for the Disruptor. Crippling Fear is great against both the Pango and the Storm Spirit pre-BKB. And I feel like you might be a weak-ish lane, assuming it's going to be a tiny one. Go Morphling instead, which it's not horrible. Which is pretty weak against the tiny, but you've got a Keeper of the Light to just keep using the Chakra Magic, allow you to secure those range creeps, and at least have a decent level of experience when that 5-minute mark comes.
I wonder, though, like, what do you think the Morph pick's about? We haven't seen Morph come out in a while. I don't think it's very strong right now in the meta. Is there a particular Morph target that looks really good to you, perhaps?
Not really. I mean, whenever I see Morph, I guess the Pango a little, but like whenever I see a Morphling pick, it's typically into like a Lifestealer or it's into a Gyro occasionally, right? We've even seen it being laned mid a couple of times just when you didn't have that burst threat. But I feel like you got a lot of burst damage right now on Army Genius's side. You've also got the Static Storm from the tree line to be able to catch him out before he's able to just morph into that strength. And I mean, let's have a look at some of the other heroes that are still in the pool. You probably need... What are you going here? You going a position 4, a position 5, maybe a 1 on Army Genius's side? Because I want to see if they can fit a Doom into this draft somehow, just because it's really good against the Morphling. Although I wouldn't hate a Phoenix either. You've got a lot of stuns, you've got a lot of teamfight control, and that Sunray is going to do work.
That's fair. I mean, they have plenty of options available to them, that's for sure, and shouldn't be too hard for AG to come to a conclusion with this final pickup, that we are going to have to wait out these final bans first. See the Viper being removed here from AG. It does feel like you still need some kind of mid pickup for MIPH. Though again, there's a lot of flexibility with this draft, so hard to tell exactly what they need. But it seems like AG will just get rid of kind of those cheesy heroes that are just going to be impossible to lane against. Maybe something like the mid laner could be nice to get rid of, just something that does well against the Storm. But there's that Nightstalker you talked about, also being removed, and I suppose there was great value with the Nightstalker had it been picked up.
Yeah, I think you also need to consider a Leshrac ban for, well, they're not going to be able to, right? But I think it's a good Leshrac game for Made in Philippines, right? One of those heroes that doesn't hate going the early BKB, so you're going to be able to deal with the Pango and the Tiny. You don't care about the kinetic fields. You've got a Coddle to enable you even further, and even in the lane, you trade reasonably against the Storm Spirit.
Well, final ban, or rather pick up here for AG.
They could be going Death Prophet as well on Made in Philippines, just with that Ancient Apparition ban. That's kind of what I'm assuming that they might look to go down. Or a Necro. Like, Necro into a Storm Spirit isn't horrible.
But then, are they not missing Teamfight and Stun in that case, if they do go down those routes?
Yeah, they are. I mean, at least you'll have a Silence, which can be nice, but again, once BKBs come out, that's obviously much less of a factor. But, I don't know. I think they just need something that's going to address the laning stage as well as the Tiny. I'm still assuming this is a 1 Tiny, right, for Army Geniuses. They might be going down a different route entirely, and I'm just wrong.
Find out very soon, as they do go down the Medusa route. You're just wrong. It's going to be a support or mid Tiny, but arguably a support, though. The mid Storm should be there. MIPH, how do they want to respond to this? It doesn't really feel like they've got a great draft to deal with the Medusa this game, that's for sure.
Can they... This might be the one game where I wouldn't hate an offlane Marcy. Just because you've got a Morphling that's going to get a lot of farm, and I feel like Dusa Disruptor is a really weak lane. So as long as you're able to punish it super early on, I mean, maybe it's like a CK as well. I wouldn't hate an offlane CK, it's very single target focus, but it would give them some stun. And just some kind of way, I don't know, to deal with this Medusa. Maybe it's a Necro. Maybe they'll just Necro.
No, they'll go down the Underlord route, surprisingly enough. Suppose the route's going to be pretty nice. The Pit of Malice is going to be very, very annoying to deal with. Firestorm damage does pretty well against Dusa, I suppose, as well. Somewhat.
Not a fan of this Midkeeper, this game. I think you're up against a Storm Spirit, you're up against a Pango that can get Blink Dagger early on, you're up against a and even Pango if he goes Diffusal Blade, right? Still going to be effective. And you're up against the Kinetic Field and Glimpse combination from Varish. So I'm really not feeling JG's Cobble this game. No shade to JG, I just think you've got at least 2 heroes that are going to counter you.
Okay. Could be, like, the way I'm trying to look at it is that they might be just trying to outpace the side of AG with this mid-coddle, but I kind of agree with you. Like, this draft does look very strange to me, at least for MIPH's end of things. I do like where Army Geniuses have gone with their own draft here for game number 2, but I'll ask you the difficult question, Danog. Do you prefer Army Geniuses draft? Do you prefer MIPH's draft before we get into this game?
I prefer Army Geniuses draft just because of what I was talking about with the Coddle. The Underlord is going to have a pretty good game, I would say, especially with a strong laner like the Monkey King. So I feel like that's going to be where the game is won. If they're able to really nullify the Medusa's farming in the early stage, then they could look to come out of this and actually be able to repel a lot of that threat that's coming through from the Storm Spirit. But another thing is, Narman, I was talking about Brock Lesnar before and Marcy. Well, I call Narman Dwayne The Rock Johnson because whenever he plays the Tiny, he is always just on point. So I'm going to go Army Geniuses for this one.
Okay, fair enough. We'll get into it. Game number 2 here between MIPH and Army Geniuses. And of course, we do have to have a quick look at the 1-8 bet odds before we do get into it. And it does seem like AG is still the favorites. 1.54 to the 2.3 of Made in Philippines. So, MIPH, they may have won game 1, but people believe in Army Geniuses for game 2, it seems.
For now, maybe they just saw that they didn't have a Marcy this time on Made in Philippines, and they were like, oh, it's a possibility to win.
I don't know. I mean, Marcy, it's... the hero, it's... I guess you're right, though. AG don't pick it up. Maybe they can win now. This hero, it's slowly getting better. Teams are figuring it out. I get it, but I do wonder if there's a buff in the books for Marcy after this patch is over.
A buff?
You'd hope so. It's lost more than it's won.
People just aren't playing it right.
Alright. Do you know how to play it, Danog? Do you want to give us a secret?
No, that's my MMR secret. No, it's like, you just need to find the right pairings for it. I think it's absolutely busted with a Pudge. I think it's busted with a Razor, Clinks, Ursa, Leshrac, pretty strong as well. Just anything that the sidekick and the rebound is going to enable. That's what you need to play Marcy around as a support.
Bot lane, PH, run into Wami and Narman here. It's going to be a bit of damage onto Wami, but not too much as Narman thinks about leveling up the toss and going for the toss back, but doesn't do so. Of course, Rupido looked like he took quite a bit of damage up at the top side of the map, but they're still able to get away with a 3-for-1 trade once again. So at least this time AG does get 1 bounty rune for their trouble, but it's still a 3-for-1 the way of MIPH.
Army Geniuses that got the 3 last time, so the fact that the laning stage went so badly for them is like, oh, this isn't a good sign.
No, because that is a fair point. We'll start with the top lane. DB and Varish going to be against Lucify and, of course, Rupido. Again, it doesn't feel like they've got the greatest way of slowing down this Medusa during this top lane. Anything you can see in particular that they need to do here on MIPH?
I mean, they're going to go for this lane drag, which I honestly don't hate. I think you just need to make sure the Underlord's able to get up to like level 3, level 4, and then you can leave him on his own because the kill threat just isn't there from a Disruptor and a Medusa lane. So Lucify is able to make those rotations, perhaps prior to Storm Spirit hitting level 6. That'd be a big win. But for now, I still feel like Underlord isn't under any great threat of dying. I say that as he's getting pincered.
Certainly is. Rupido will try and go for a run here, but he's going to be cut off by Varish. DB, of course, still going with the Mystic Snake, and it does connect onto Rupido. Very, very tanky on the Underlord, but they are still just chasing away as Varish. Well, he will have another Thunderstrike very soon, but Rupido has salved up. So Varish, he is going to be able to cancel that one off. I don't think he gets a kill here, though. Rupido.
But Rupido's gone through a salve and 6 tangos now in this lane. And a salve from Lucify. Like, this is going horribly for the Underlord on the top side. And like I said before, Disruptor, Medusa, it's a pretty weak lane. So the fact that they've been able to come out of it this dominant early on is a big win.
I think it's just the initial Thunder Strikes being thrown out here by Varish that's really causing the issues. We'll have a look at the other lanes while we still have a chance as well. Of course, Azura mid lane. And that Storm going to be against the mid-keeper of the line here from JG. You didn't particularly like this this mid-coddle coming out here for JG. It does seem like Azura's already having a very good time on that mid-Storm. 13 and 3 in terms of CS. We'll see what they can get done. For now, though, Azura, again, it does feel like he's going to have a very good lane.
Yeah, and the thing for mine is, Coddle, he excels at being able to push lanes out, right? And just punish that way. I'm not sure if Azura's going to get too much harass out against JG at this stage, and ends up actually taking a lot more for himself. But you are one of those heroes that's capable of rotating back towards like your small camp and getting a lot of that farm, so you can kind of play Coddle's game and still do pretty fine.
Exactly what Azura's doing. We'll have a look at the final lane as well. Down at bot lane, Wami and Narman, the tiny Pango against Ken on this pos 1 Morphling, and of course Teehee going to be there on that position 5 Gyrocopter. So far, it seems like this Morph's having a great old time as Ken is going to get tossed back. Does go for the Agimorph mid-avalanche, but is going to be just fine to survive through it. But so far, so good for the pos 1 Morphling. Not too much contest going on.
Yeah, I mean, a Gyrocopter's that really aggressive support, right? That just wants to play far ahead, look to try and be trading, keeping them out of your face. So, again, now that Ken's level 3, he's hit that early-ish timing that he needs, although has to be careful about playing on full Agi against Narman.
Top lane, Lucify with the Mischief Dodge on a right click actually saves his own life. I had to look back up there as Rupido and Lucify both so low in terms of HP. Lucify actually still giving Tangos away to Rupido to try to keep him in this lane, and well, that they are. Varish has wasted all his mana and all his consumables trying to get the damage out onto these two. He is going to bring out 2 more Mangoes and a Clarity though, so the disruptive damage, it's not going to stop anytime soon.
Yeah, and Azura might have had a bit of a threat of going down that mid lane. Lucify, nice body blocks there, preventing Variz from getting away. Will at least be able to get that Jingu Mastery completed. I almost wonder if they go for a kill onto DB here. Let's see how Rapido looks to move himself. No, looks like they're still happy enough just to back off and get that level 4 that I was talking about on the Underlord.
They just weren't ready with the balance, but now Lucify, Primal Spring in, but he's off the mark just barely on Varish. Still going to try and go forward with the Balance Strike onto DB. Take a bit of damage on his way out, but Varish doesn't have any points in the glimpse yet. Not going to be able to bring him back, and Lucify stick around and just block the small camp there on the Monkey King. We'll be able to be just fine here up at the top lane. Still no first blood being drawn down. I mean, this happened last game, though. As I say that, Teehee does get tossed back by Narman. Seems like he's going to be just fine to survive through it, though. And well, once again, first blood, very late to be drawn between these two.
Yeah, JG tried to go for the small camp, still ended up getting 1 of the 3 creeps there, so Azura just still keeping up fairly well with farm.
Oh, Ken, he does get caught out.
Rock.
Avalanche toss from Narman, and well, I believe he was Agimorph.
Yeah, reasonably. Yeah, a little bit more than halfway, so it's always going to be very dangerous when, again, you're coming up against all of this burst damage. Pangolier, Tiny, Storm Spirit, like, they can dish it out pretty damn quickly, so he had a decent time in the early-ish stages, but he's going to need to be careful for sure.
And Wami go for a bit of a run now because Teehee's on the chase, but he does have the swashbuckle away. It's going to be just fine. He had the raindrops anyway, so really just takes no damage from that homing missile. So 1 kill on the map so far. AG the ones to pick it up once again. They're off to a decent start, it seems. Oh, even Azura going to be able to pick up this power rune. Haste rune being taken. Meanwhile, DB getting chipped away out on this Medusa, but he's going to be just fine.
Storm will get a kill.
Teehee, yeah, he will definitely get a kill. It's easy kill there for Azura with the haste rune. That's easy rotation. Even at finding some stacks for himself, so why the hell not?
Shows the importance of controlling those power runes, right? Whenever you've got a Storm Spirit. Meant that the rotation through from Naaman, because it was enabled by that First Blood, Ken plays a little bit more scared. You have that flexibility to be able to make that rotation through as... wasn't expecting that coming through at this stage.
Yeah, great rotation out from JG, just finding the DB Medusa, and where you get the +5 Gyrocopter, but it's a great trade out for MIPH now, and JG will even stick around and just farm here for a little bit. And in the meantime, Rupido can just constantly just hit this tower now. They've got the siege creep up, so nothing has stopped them from taking this top tier 1 tower down, and this could be the start of some great things for MIPH in this game too.
It could, absolutely. The thing that I'm really looking for is when is Army Geniuses going to make a rotation to try and kill JG? Because right now, he's still like, he's an in hero, right? He's got no stats outside of a couple of branches that's going to help him with his survivability. So I think you just need to take advantage of the fact that you've got this Storm Spirit, he's had a decent enough time in the early game, and you've got good lockdown. So I want to see some rotations look to happen with Naaman as well as Azura to be able to prevent the snowball from continuing for JG.
So far, it seems like the only team rotating is MIPH. The Army Geniuses might be trying to set up that bottom tier 1 tower. The whole Dire jungle, though, has been taken by MIPH now, and they are still staring down DB at the top lane at Lucify. Oh, I don't know if he saw him there. Well, the Medusa just TPing out. He did have the Boundless Strike, but I don't believe he had the vision.
It's that nighttime, again, coming into the equation. Who are we going to catch out here? I mean, look at this. Coddle farming right underneath that Observer Ward, which also provided the safety net through to DB there. Will he be able to get back in time? Teehee, just that positioning, always on point to be able to catch out and be the one to tank the game.
A very, very good hit from the Gyrocopter. Laughs coming out as well. He knows he did a great job. And well, for AG, probably not going to be very happy. They wanted the Coddle, and they're not going to find that. They're going to find the least valuable kill on the map. I suppose for AG, at least they can take their jungle back. But, you know, in the meantime, Danog, you look at Ken. He's farming very well on the Morphling right now. And it seems to be some challenging times for AG at the moment.
You always see Ken farming well. Like, that's his thing. He's probably one of the best farmers in the entire SCA Div 2. I would honestly even put it as Div 2 as a whole. So I think you just need to be very careful of dominating him in the laning stage so that he doesn't have that capability to snowball with his farming patterns.
Certainly doing a great job so far. You know, even if you are against a Medusa, if you can get a nice start on this Morphling, you can just kind of get going before DB's ready to really fight. This Morphling hitting very hard. I'm very curious as well to see what kind of itemization he does go for on this Morph. For now, it just looks like the standard Yasha build-up. Not revealing too much yet on this Morphling. We'll see very soon, I hope. And as well as that, like, you've got Rupido with this Dark Portal up now. So chances are, like, MIPH, they might get aggressive again very soon. Especially if AG want to push down the bot tier 1 tower. You could just Dark Portal and force the fight.
Be careful where he uses it, though, because it does destroy the trees, so you would hate to have Lucifer just completely griefed by his teammate.
Fair.
Seems like they're pretty satisfied just pushing into other lanes at the same time, though.
They are. My apologies, it is called Fiend's Gate now, I keep forgetting. Not Dark Portal. AG, hanging around mid-tier 1 tower. Naaman around to help Azura if they do find themselves a target, but nobody's showing up in that mid-tier 1. It's alright, we'll just farm up the creep wave, and well, he does have a siege creep, so they certainly could stick around to try and force a rotation, and there's one. It's going to be Rupido on the Underlord. He's fine.
Yeah. Hardest one to kill. So that's always the strat, right? Back when Tidehunter was more in the meta, he was really the one fulfilling that role. But of course, Underlord, 3 points Atrophy Aura, raindrops, tons of strength. You're not going to be able to take him down before the rest of the team joins in.
Well, AG still taking their sweet time. Meanwhile, MIPH going to start applying pressure into this mid-tier 1. No siege creep up for them, but they do force a glyph out. With the Underlord on the front lines, you're not too afraid of what's coming here from Army Geniuses. As Rupido still thinking about it. Won't go for it yet. In the meantime, Ken going to move in after the Tiny. Naaman tossed back into the tier 2 tower, but Ken is just perfectly fine. Naaman going to keep chipping away at the Morphling, but he's probably just going to be happy with surviving throughout that onslaught, and that'll be enough for him. Meanwhile, bottom lane, the push does start again from Army Geniuses. Again, they do have the Fiend's Gate up if they want to try and force a fight. Lucify around as well on the Monkey King, but it seems like they're going to let this one go down.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
To me, it feels like Made in Philippines just have the ability to be in control of what happens this game, right? Because for what we've seen so far, Army Geniuses, for whatever reason, don't feel confident in trying to go for these kills onto the Keeper of the Light. You know, Coddles love to be active. They love to be going for kills. Maybe not so much this time because JG hasn't gone the Spirit Vessel, but he's still so close to picking up that Orchid that he's going to have that time, that timing very shortly. So I'm keen to see how Army Geniuses respond to that, because for right now, it just feels like they're playing way too passively when Made in Philippines have the option of split pushing with a lot of their heroes.
Mid lane, Army Geniuses gonna make a play. Lucify fine to avoid the gank as AG, even with the two-man smoke up, find nothing for their trouble. MIPH doing a very good job of just kind of recognizing the state of the game and backing their way out, but now Naaman's being looked at. Mid lane, he's gonna be just fine. Not staying within range for Rupido to land that Pit of Malice and set up for a gank attempt. A very patient kind of game from either side, and you start to wonder who this conservative play is really favoring.
I would say Made in Philippines for sure. I know you're going up against a Medusa, but I feel like they've got the tools to be able to burn through the Medusa pretty effectively. I mean, the Underlord, of course, is going to be able to scale with the Firestorm, just complete ways to rip through a lot of that that high HP pool. Of course, the Atrophiora as well, just for that tool to reduce a lot of that damage output. And it feels to me like you need to get kills. You need to enable yourself to have that secondary life, you know, snowball into Roshan. And for right now, they're just playing a little bit too passively. I don't think you can wait for this Tiny to have his blink tag.
You certainly can't. Naaman just doesn't have the space to farm it right now, and as you saw, he just ends up dying there down at the bot lane, trying to set up something for his team. It's one of those classic games where you choose an aggressive pos 4, but nobody wants to fight. Always a terrible feeling for that pos 4. Is MIPH now trying to bait with a power rune up at top side. Azura should have seen Lucify, gonna avoid the stun though, and he's just fine to back himself out. Lucify still thinking about the chase, does give up on it. They do take the haste rune, and that's gonna be enough. AG, they just don't want the fight right now.
Feeling confident on Made in Philippines again. Just rally around this Underlord. Make sure he's the one on the front lines. Multiple people there.
Walk it out from JG. They want to just try and blow up the Pango, but a nice toss away from Naaman, saving the day, but now the Static Storm is there. Teehee still going after the Pango, stunning him up, not allowing the Rolling Thunder. As Varish is going to drop Wami, he'll finally get the Rolling Thunder off, but it's only going to find one. They find both supports. They'll give their own position 5 away, and now Wami orchided up once again by JG. Might just drop at the Fiend's Gate. Even going to come in from Rupido just to make sure. Great play by MIPH, and well, Army Geniuses had no response to that.
No, they did not. I mean, at least you are still continuing to farm on DB. That is the one small silver lining, but you're losing big areas of the map. Of course, whenever you've got a Medusa, it's so important to protect your triangle, and well, now you don't have that mid-tier 1. You're much more capable of making these smoke movements through less obvious terrain. So it means that he's going to be playing in danger. Lucify really just putting himself out here saying, look, you can't farm on this lane for free. We're going to push you back. We're going to make you play a little bit more conservatively so that, you know, even though you might be farming a little bit, you're not going to be able to respond to a lot of the aggression that we're putting out.
Yeah, I mean, DB, he's trying to catch up. Ken still more than happy to just stay ahead of this Medusa in terms of farm, and just got a Manta up right now on the morph, but sooner or later, we'll have a lot more than that. And even as the Medusa, like, even if you can keep up in net worth, it does feel like you always want to be ahead. For now, and it's just not going to be the case, as double damage rune. He's going to be taken by Rupido. Wami will cancel off the Rolling Thunder. Rotovatos not up yet, but they have the Solar Bind into the Orchid, and now the call down is going to come out, and the Boundless Strike just going to hold down Wami. He couldn't even get out. This is before the Rotovatos is up.
Yeah, to me, I mean, it was a great Orchid as well coming out from JG, and this is exactly what you didn't want to happen. You know, just more stuff that's going to enable Made in Philippines to play that bit more aggressively. Of course, a Morphling being able to have that Aegis the Immortal just opens up the map even further. They're going to try and find a pick-off as they look to rotate.
They will. The Gyro going to be fine though. Lucify, he'll make the jump in. They've already got Narman. They're still trying for the Gyrocopter, and eventually they'll find him with the Static Storm. That'll be about it though. Pos 5 for a Pos 4, and like you mentioned, Danog, it's a hell of a lot committed here by the side of AG. They've still got Rolling Thunder to play with, but it actually seems like it's going to be enough for MIPH to back themselves out anyway. Or is it? Azura. Oh, he got silenced up. He played it greedy.
Yeah, they were probably thinking that they were in the Roche pit at the time, right? That's where they ended up finding them in the first place. And that Azura goes down, and I understand Wami going for this Spirit Vessel, right? You're up against a Morphling, you're against an Underlord. It's going to have insane value early on. Not so much anymore, considering he's got the Manta style, but just the pings down the bottom side there. So, okay, they're not contesting it on Roche. Let's look to try and set up for a kill. I mean, the Fiend's Gate's available again. They might try and pick off Wami, because I feel like that... He's going into a Lotus Orb, just to be again
Yeah, he copped the Boundless Strike there, Danog. Couldn't swash away, and yeah, like you mentioned, they are definitely going after Wami. Just JG and Lucify on their own getting it done. It's just such a devastating combo. You cop the Boundless, and JG, he'll take care of the rest. It's no problem.
So what I was trying to say was, I think he needs the Lotus Orb, but I don't think Azura's doing his job in this game. And that's a shame, because I think he's a fantastically skilled mid laner.
Narman gonna be okay. They'll drop the Static Storm to try and help him out, but Narman, he's still trapped up. Ken will just go right for the chase, and once again, it's still gonna be a positive trade the way of MIPH. Pos 4 for Pos 5. Is there anything they can really go for? It doesn't seem like it, but they've got a 5k advantage, and with the way this game's going, I don't really give a damn if there's a Medusa anymore. It just feels like they're just going to constantly out-farm DB.
Yep. You can Manta off a Firestorm all you want, but you're still going to be in the Firestorm. You're still going to have that ticking damage. You're going to be up against a Skadi on Ken pretty shortly. You've been able to just have really good map control at this stage. Just playing on their side as much as they can. And again, that's another one of the benefits of the Underlord. We see Dawnbreaker played a lot more lately, but Underlord as well has that global presence with the Fiend's Gate. Always able to join in onto any of these team fights. And what I was saying before was, if Azura is... Well, maybe he could make a play now with the BKB. That'd be huge. Lucify's positioning.
There it is, going to find Lucify. Static Remnant, I believe, giving the vision over, so the Monkey King does get caught out. That's a nice start. That'll force MIPH all the way back, and that's going to buy even more time for DB at the least. Questionable who it favors, but it won't matter for now. Ken, he'll get back to farming as well. On to Evive Skadi now on the Morphling. AG, with the way this game's gone, it feels like the Pango and Storm, they're just kind of out of the game now. It's all up to DB to try and carry this as this pulls on Medusa. However, mid lane, they do find Teehee once again on the Gyrocopter. But here comes the cavalry now to try and help out. Rupido, an eye pit of Malice, but they got Ken. The Aegis is down. That'll be one. As Azura will get out with the Fiend's Gate. Rather just the TP. AG, though, is still being chased down here by Rupido. Though at least find Varish. Lucify wants a bit more. Orchid is out. Solar Mine is there. The Pit of Malice to hold down the Pangolier, but Wami is going to get tossed out of there by Narman. The Illuminate barely connecting and doing so much damage, but nowhere near enough to take him down.
It was a clever little play there. Varese ends up glimpsing him back after the Underlord comes through the Fiend's Gate, but of course, it's not a TP. He just goes through the gate again. So he was still there, ready to join the fight and continue being that positive frontline impact. But again, it just feels like support for support is the only way a lot of these trades are going right now. Is, well, wouldn't be a game of Sea Dota without a DC coming through, as Ken, he's closing in on that Skadi. That's the big timing that they're working for. And I mean, before that team fight broke out, I was really looking at Army Geniuses and thinking, okay, well, you finally hit your BKB timing on the Storm Spirit. You finally hit your Blink Dagger on the Tiny. And Pangolier, I was saying before, with him buying the Arcane Boots, he would be more inclined to want to go into the Lotus, because look at what he's up against, right? You're up against a rocket that you can reflect back, you can get rid of the blind from the coddle, you can get rid of the orchid from the coddle, you can get rid of the Atos, the Pit of Malice. It's an amazing game for it. And what I was getting to before as well with Azura was, I said he wasn't really playing his role this game. And I feel like if you're going to have a Pango that's going to get a Blink Dagger this late into the game, you need to have a Storm Spirit that's being that initiation. And it just feels like he hasn't done that. So now the fact that Pango is going into the Blink Dagger leads me to believe that Wami's just like, look, we need to do something. We need to have more aggression onto the front lines. We need to try and get these chain stuns going. We need to set up for the amazing, static storm combinations. And then maybe we can come back into this one. But it is a risky proposition. Like I said, Lotus would be great this game, but feels like, I don't know, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
You certainly are, and we are looking at the 188 bet odds as we speak. Danog, turns out the odds have flipped in the favor of MIPH, 1.54 to the 2.3 of AG, so they do eventually go back the other way now as well, I guess with the state of the game, it makes enough sense. You look at Dota Plus as well, it's not too bad on Dota Plus, is it? 59% win probability for the side of MIPH. Uh-oh. That probability might have just gone down. Yeah. Electricity down for one of their plays.
Is it the same issue with your shed, Mike? Has a tree fallen on it or something?
I hope not, because that one takes a long time to resolve itself. I tell you that. It's I don't know what it's going to be here for MIPH. Not sure what exactly they can do if the power's out for their whole area. I believe...
Yeah, that'd be a shame.
The general idea is, in these circumstances, either the electricity connects fast enough, or you run to the internet cafe. But assuming it's the whole area, you probably don't have one right now.
You're going to need to pedal your bike as fast as you can, that's for sure. Just try and get down there, just slam the money on the couch and be like, I don't just take it all. I need to get in the game.
Oh, still, we'll have to... It'll probably be a bit of a wait here. We'll see what happens. MIPH, they might run out of pause time, then it's up to AG, whether they're feeling nice or not to give their pause time over. And of course, if you can't connect in time, then, well, I believe it's a forfeit for game number 2, and then you have a bit of time for game number 3.
You play it out, right? Like, I don't think you necessarily have to forfeit, but, I mean, they got a 5k lead. It's possible, for sure, to be able to still take this one. Maybe, okay, if the Morphling's DC, then you're screwed. But if it's the Gyro, then maybe you can make it work.
True. That's fair. Well, AG. I'll chill out. How's your day been, by the way, Danog? I never get to ask you this question, but how's everything been for you, sir, while we're waiting?
Oh, thank you, Mike. It's very nice. Aries never asks me. It's been great. I've just been hanging out, doing a little bit of a nice walk. Been snacking, watching some Dota, been trying to find a few more bugs. Tsunami, he streams a lot, and he, of course, has his lovely website, howdoiplay.com, that just gives you a lot of those little tips and tricks. So I always, idle in there, see if I can hand out a little bit of information here and there. But no, great little community, and it's just a chill weekend. Honestly, though, the days, they're starting to blend together a little bit. I looked at my phone, I'm like, oh, God, it's Saturday? All right. we'll make it work.
It is a bit like that, isn't it? It's the casting life. You kind of just lose track of time. Don't know if you heard, Danog, but not much going on for me. It's been a terrible time recently, Danog. It's probably best not to hear about my life. I was going to say to you, though, I don't know if you heard, John X Fire, who isn't here currently right now, does have himself a new business. And Danog, I'm sure you'd be happy to hear it's an ice cream business of all things.
Oh, I mean... If I can't get some free samples or be an ambassador for that, what have I done all these years? Because it's like, that is my thing. I have backgrounds and I have ice cream. I got nothing else. Dota knowledge, nah. Prediction power, not there. It's just a wash if I'm not getting at least ice cream out of this.
That's fair. We'll have a talk with John when he's back from the beach. We'll sort out your ice cream, your tasting session with John. Should be very, very fun, I'm sure. And I'm yet to taste the ice cream as well, Dan. He hasn't even opened the stand yet, but I'm looking very forward to seeing how it does taste. It does look delicious at the least. So I wonder if we have a time right now. Because JG's asking for how many minutes they have left, and, well, there's no response quite yet. Let me see if I can get the
lovely
admin
admin
to
Nino.
respond. Yeah. I'll see if I can get him
You
to respond.
You poke him with a stick, or how do you do that?
Just poke him with a stick, basically. Just ask him.
Mm-hmm. Wake up, Nino.
Let's see.
While you're doing that, were you watching any of the World Cup qualifiers as well? We saw Australia make it through, which is always nice. We're going to get knocked out in 3 games and then go straight home, but always great to be there.
I did not watch it, but I did hear that apparently our Oz server got invaded by some Peruvians after that game. So
Oh, did it actually? Oh.
it was I wasn't there. I wasn't playing on Oz because I haven't played there in a long time, but that would have been pretty funny. I actually should have logged on and tried to play some Oz server that night, knowing the Peruvians had invaded after that soccer match. But unfortunately, I did not watch the qualifiers, Danog. I find football painfully boring. I might admit.
Anything outside of World Cup, I would agree with you. But I feel like anything that just brings countries together, like I'm a big Olympics fan, I'm a big Commonwealth Games fan. It's just like, I don't know, I got that country pride.
I get you. It's good to be patriotic at times. You know, I always root for Australia as well. It's just, I just know they're not going to win. That's the problem. You know, it's kind of like you said. They've got a few games and they're probably going to head off home again.
I'm very calm.
It's a sad reality. What can you do? It's not rugby league, you know. Or rugby union.
It's not rugby league. It's not swimming at the Olympics where we just we get all our medals and then we go home.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, 3 minutes of pause time, by the way, in case you didn't see that, Danog. Nino is here now.
I did. That's no good.
No, it's from what I can tell. I mean, they did say they're out of electricity. I believe AG has the right to give them pause time, but you know, it is DPC. They probably don't want to.
Oh, there we go. There we go. It's out there.
He dropped the XD. He knows it's not happening.
Yeah, maybe he'll tip him and just say, that'll be enough. That's all you get from us.
No,
thank you. Love it.
You've been disrupted. You've been disrupted.
Perfect.
I mean, it's a lot that these teams are playing for, right? You know, the chance potentially to be in Div 1. It's very even across the board. Did you see that that graph of the Chinese standings for Div 1, I think it was?
Oh, it was just all 1-to-1s, right?
All 1-1s. And it's honestly pretty similar in CDPC, at least for Division 2. We've got Execration and Little Gun 2-0 at the moment, and then we've got Neon 0-2. But everyone else has 1 win. So it's pretty even across the board. And, you know, this... You don't want to get a free win. Of course, you want to earn it. But, I mean, if the win's there, you take it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it seems like it was a joke all along. Vrish is going to probably hand over their pause time anyways, so... There is that. They'll have an extra, I'd say, 10 minutes based off how much they had on the side of AG before this happened. There is one reconnection here from our gyrocopter, so that's good news, but you definitely want your POS 1 Morphling to be back of all people if you can. So the POS 5 gyrocopter is probably the least important hero on the map right now. No offense to T here, of course. You beautiful man. He's very important, but the Morphling, much more important in this game, I think, and... Well, if one of them's reconnected, surely the morph will come soon.
Yeah, I mean, they went out at the exact same time, so you would have to assume that it's going to be that that sort of instance. Maybe his computer's just worse, you know? That might be the issue there, and, well, I'm just... during our pause time, I always like to have a look at what each individual player's, like, non-tournament name is, as well as their profile picture, because I feel like it tells a lot about these players. You know, we've got... Lucify, who has the old school Doom portrait as his profile picture. We've got just a bunch of random letters on Rapidos. There was someone that had like some really weird one. Okay, so Wami, it's going to be hard to read, but in his avatar, it's like, I hate getting flashbacks from things I don't want to remember. And I was watching, you asked me before what like I'd been doing with my morning. I was watching Quinn stream actually, and he was just going off about this sort of thing. And because he came up against a player that had the name like Unstoppable Demon Within My Soul. And he's like, that name itself just tells you all you need to know about a player. And you know that if you queue into a pub with someone like that, you're going to have a bad time. So, you know, maybe Wami's just having some introspection coming through here.
Fair enough. We have had the admin asked to resume the game. Okay, so if AG's pause time runs out, they're saying they'll just forfeit. Well, Lucifer is saying that at least. AG, they said they were joking last time when they said no thank you.
But maybe they were joking about joking.
Right. I mean, right now, they've basically got a forfeit on their hands. Like, they can just take the guaranteed win right now if they want. Sure. That's not really a yes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. They're not. They don't want to, but they're gonna do it because it'd be rude not to. I think is the answer.
It's the sportsman thing to do. These guys are friends. I think 5 minutes is fair, right? You give them the 5 minutes because, you know, what if the reverse happens? What if the Army Geniuses players have their electricity go out when he comes and connects? And, well, DB, he's going to go watch some anime at the time. I'm not sure what anime you can watch in 5 minutes.
Well, Danog, there's certain types of animes you can watch in 5 minutes. Not that you and I would watch them, but, you know. He might be watching.
Oh my god, Lucifer is mentioning one of them.
Boku no Pico. What is that?
Don't Google it. Do not Google it.
Do you actually know what it is?
You. Yes, it's an infamous one.
Is it really? All right, ladies, don't I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna check what it is.
Oh, please, Mike, no.
Well, hold on. I don't. He said it, Danog. Now I'm. Oh. Okay, yeah, don't Google that. That's...
Get off my...
I told you.
Yeah, you told me.
You gotta trust me, Mike.
Yeah, I should have trusted you. Sorry about that. Don't look it up, ladies and gentlemen. It's quite... Yeah, I'm not gonna comment any further on that. Still 5 minutes of pause time for AG. 4 minutes probably right now for MIPH.
Mike, you and I, we're not old, but we're older souls within the Dota community. You remember some of those websites, right, that people tried to trick you to go to? This is kind of like those. I don't even want to say them by name because people might just go and look them up, but it's kind of that sort of thing. If people aren't aware of certain anime names, you can get caught out a little bit.
I'm with you on that. I fell for all those websites back in the day, by the way, Danog. I was more curious than a cat, I was, sadly. Had some very, very devastating experiences when I was a young man, watching, well, not watching, but rather just seeing these things that popped up on these websites. Some
citrus parties, some citrus festivals, and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, goodness me. Well, no reconnection yet here for MIPH. Think there's probably roughly 3 minutes left. Hopefully Ken can make the reconnection in time. Danog, hype matchups tonight, by the way, in case you hadn't seen it. I'm sure you have. Boom Esports versus Talon right after this, and then after that, Fnatic versus RSG. RSG, of course, not even dropping a series yet, I don't believe, in
Are they 1-0 or 2-0?
Let me look it up. I mean, we've got time right now, so I may as well, but I'm pretty sure they're 2-0, right?
Well, I think they're just 1-0, so Talon are 2-0.
Oh, you are correct. Yeah, 1-0. Yep, you are correct.
But they did beat T1. That was the important thing about RSG. And now we've got Teehee disconnecting, so we're going backwards.
Okay.
So what I was saying was, who do you think is going to win out of those? And more importantly, who do you want to win?
Between RSG and Fnatic? I mean, I think Fnatic...
Most series, yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, Talon vs. Boom... See, Talon vs. Boom to me is the more hype one, in some sense, because, you know... Talon's coming up from Div 2. I mean, they both are, but you get my point. Like, there's a lot more talk around Talon right now, who are undefeated in Division 1, which is something I did not expect, by the way. I was telling John in the background a lot that I think Talon, at best, will hang around the middle of the group for this tour. I was, at least for now, completely wrong, because they're all the way at the top. But I think today against Boom, surely... Like, if Talon win against Boom tonight, I think they're just outright going to go to the major. That's the way I see it. And if RSG beat Fnatic, then I don't know what to think anymore. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, though, and to be fair, these wins are kind of why these teams are partly in the position that they are. But Talon have beaten Nigma C, who are 1-3. Somehow they've played 4 games already. And you've got them beating Polaris as well, who is 0-3, right? So they might be the easier teams, but of course, SEA DPC is so even across the board. And I would wager that RSG's victory against T1 is just slightly higher weighted than that. And they're also undefeated, right? So, me personally, and this is just like, we got TI, it's in Southeast Asia, finally. I just want to maximize our presence there, right? Because I think the way to do that is having Boom come first, Fnatic come second, have them guaranteed to be able to go through to TI with 2 spots. Then you get the third one through the regional qualifiers, and then, again, 4th and 5th potentially coming through with that last chance qualifier, because pretty competitive across the board. So I think that would give just the greatest chance for us to see the most SEA Dota at TI, and so that's really what I want to happen.
Well, they've called GG
well,
here.
Looks like no reconnect. GG is
They
called.
just straight up forfeit. They're not going to try and fight 3v5 or 4v5. I get it though. I mean, they lost their Morphling. What do you do? Like, it's probably the worst case scenario that could have happened here, and that really sucks. I mean, MIPH, it looks like they're in for a 2-0 victory here. Have they forfeited the whole series? That's what I'm wondering.
I don't know. We'll have to slide into Nino's DMs. That's to find that little bit of information, but yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. Like I was saying before, if it was the gyro that didn't reconnect, you can make it work. But just if the Morphling's disconnected, he's not actually getting more of that net worth, and you can't really buy items for him. It just doesn't make sense, right? Unless it's the super late game where you never need to buy anything anymore. So yeah,
Right.
a little bit unfortunate. A lot unfortunate, actually. But we'll see. We'll see if there's a game 3. Fingers crossed there is, because, again, this series means so much to both teams.
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting for word on exactly what's happening. Again, I don't know if they've just completely forfeited the whole series. I mean, I believe they can use this next 10 minutes to hope that the electricity does come on and go for a 2-1 victory if they want. But hard to say. They just called GG and kind of said we forfeit. It's very, very hard to know.
Yeah. Hard to know. Obviously, they want to keep playing. They want to have as many chances. I mean, who knows? Maybe, I don't know what rules there are. Can they use a mid-series sub? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I believe there's another lobby up, so I think we are going to be intending on going for that next game. So, look, what we're going to do, we're going to throw to a break. If it turns out they ended up forfeiting, we'll come back and have a chat. Otherwise, we are going to be going to a 10-minute break, and right after that break, we'll hopefully be back with Game 3's draft. We'll see you then.